Eala has done it again, and this time, she did it in style. After surviving a long, exhausting, mentally draining battle against Laura Siegemund, a match that tested every dimension of her game, she came straight back out at the Miami Open and delivered one of the most impressive performances of her entire run. She stepped onto the court against Magda Linette, a player brimming with confidence after a stunning earlier victory, and instead of looking tired or emotionally spent, Eala looked sharper, stronger, and more locked in than ever. That is what makes this victory so special. Not just that she won, but the way she won. The control, the poise, the shot selection, the nerve, and the deep, unshakable belief she displayed from the first set to the final point. This was not a lucky escape. This was not a match where she simply hung around and capitalized on late mistakes. This was Eala taking the court with clear intent, playing like she belonged on that stage, and proving once again that her rise is entirely, undeniably real. Linette was not an easy opponent. Let us put this into proper context. Linette came into this match carrying serious momentum. She had already demonstrated she could trouble big names, and she was playing with the confidence of someone who believed she could go deep in this tournament. That kind of form makes any player dangerous. It makes them fearless. It makes them difficult to break down even when you are playing well. Eala did not care about any of that. She did not play the name. She did not play the occasion. She simply played her game. And when Eala plays with that level of clarity and conviction, she becomes a very difficult player to handle. The first set from the opening exchanges, you could already sense where this was heading. Eala came out with authority, reading the court well, getting into rallies early, and taking the initiative rather than waiting for Linette to impose her will. There was a clear difference in energy from the very first game. Linette had her moments and hit some quality shots, but for the vast majority of the first set, Eala had the upper hand. She looked more decisive in the critical exchanges, more comfortable under pressure, and more willing to step forward and take ownership of points. That first set told the story of a player who had genuinely absorbed something from the Siegemund battle. Against Siegemund, Eala had to dig deep mentally, staying calm through long games, repeated deuces, momentum swings, and relentless disruption. She had to fight through a contest that was as much about patience and self-control as it was about tennis. That kind of experience can either drain a player or strengthen them. In Eala's case, it strengthened her. You could see it in the way she approached Linette. There was maturity in her movement, purpose in every decision. No panic, no rush, no wasted energy or emotion. She looked like a player who had already been through the storm and come out tougher on the other side. When she took the first set 6-3, it felt entirely deserved. The scoreline reflected exactly what was happening on court. She had dictated the big moments, stayed composed when Linette tried to create openings, and sent a clear message. She was not here simply to compete. She was here to win. The second set, this is where the match became even more impressive. Eala started the second set with the same intensity, keeping the pressure on and refusing to let Linette settle. For a period, it looked like she might run away with it entirely. She was serving with confidence, striking the ball cleanly, and building her advantage through controlled aggression. But Linette, to her enormous credit, did not go away. She kept fighting, kept pushing, and found a way to claw herself back into the set. And this is precisely the moment where many young players lose control. You work hard to build a lead, the finish line comes into sight, your opponent raises their level, and suddenly the whole match shifts. Doubt creeps in. Frustration builds. Momentum flips. Eala showed growth in this moment. Rather than letting Linette's comeback shake her, she stayed in the fight. She did not collapse mentally. She did not start forcing low-percentage shots out of desperation. She kept trusting her game and kept competing, point by point, game by game. When the second set reached a tiebreak, it was the clearest possible examination of where both players stood mentally. Eala passed that test brilliantly. She looked like the calmer, clearer player throughout, playing with purpose, handling the pressure better, and making the bigger decisions at the right moments. When it mattered most, she elevated. Winning that tiebreak 7-2 was not simply about taking the set. It was about showing nerve. It was about proving that even after surrendering the momentum and letting Linette back into contention, she still had the composure to close the job emphatically. That is a significant sign for any player on the rise. Talent can win you points. Mentality wins you matches like this. And if there is one thing this Miami Open run is demonstrating clearly, it is that Eala is growing stronger mentally with every single round. The bigger picture, the Siegmund match was a grind. The kind of contest that forces a player to confront discomfort, frustration, and fatigue simultaneously. Eala came through it. Then she turned around and used that experience to defeat Linette in straight sets. That is the mark of someone learning fast. That is the mark of someone whose confidence is no longer fragile. That is the mark of someone beginning to genuinely understand what it takes to win consistently at this level. One area that deserves particular attention is the serve. For a long time, when people discussed Eala's game, the conversation centered on her movement, her baseline ability, and the variety in her shot-making. But in this match, her serve looked like a weapon she could truly rely on. When your serve is earning you free points, starting rallies on your terms, and bailing you out of pressure moments, your entire game becomes more dangerous. That serve confidence looked earned, the product of work, of improvement, of an area that is no longer holding her back the way it once might have. That is why this performance feels bigger than just one win. This was not a player getting hot for an afternoon. This was a player putting the pieces together. The physical tools are there. The shot-making is there. The resilience is growing. The confidence is building. And the moments that once looked vulnerable are beginning to look solid. That is how breakthroughs actually happen, not all at once, not in a single magical moment, but gradually, match by match, challenge by challenge, until suddenly everyone looks up and realizes a player has arrived. What makes Eala so compelling to watch right now is that she is not winning in just one way. Against Siegmund, she had to survive a battle of patience, disruption, and endurance. Against Linette, she showed a more complete and commanding side of her game. That versatility matters enormously. It means she is adapting. It means she is learning how to handle different styles, different rhythms, and different kinds of pressure. At this level, that adaptability can carry you a very long way. There is also something else worth noting, the belief. Eala looks like she genuinely believes now. Not just in flashes, not just after a great shot, but throughout entire matches. You can see it in the way she carries herself between points, in the way she responds to setbacks, in the way she closes out important moments without hesitation. That belief changes everything for a young player. Once the mind fully catches up to the talent, the game can move to an entirely different level. After the brutal battle with Siegmund, Eala came back and defeated Linette with a performance full of confidence, discipline, and mental toughness. She controlled the first set, survived the second set drama, dominated the tiebreak, and reminded everyone watching that her rise is not slowing down. If anything, she is only getting stronger. And if this is the version of Eala we are seeing now, calm under pressure, sharper on serve, more resilient in the big moments, and more confident than ever before, then the rest of the field would do well to take very careful notice. Eala is not just having a good tournament. She is making a statement. And right now, she looks like a player who is only just getting started.